This shop's one of a kind. We never know what might turn up. Some days, it could be a grand old classic. Other days, maybe a muscle car, even a military vehicle. Some jobs are quick fixes. Others are full-blown restorations. And on occasion, million-dollar recreations. My only rule, perfection. And that's the kind of thing that we do at the Guild Garage. So an old friend rolled in the door today. It's a 1957 Studebaker that we restored quite a few years ago for its owner. When it came in, it was a little bit ratty. When it left as a major show winner. It's come in now for some service work, just to get her up to snuff for the summer. I'm putting Larry on this Studebaker for the simple reason that I know Larry just loves Studebakers. You put these two together, match made in heaven.
Personally, I like Studebakers. I own 3 of my own. I always loved their body styling, and as I got older, I appreciated it more. They were so far ahead of their design with their wing concept and the bullet nose, what they called the bullet nose Studebaker, with the big chrome bullet in the front and its swept back styling of the fenders and that. Factory-produced cars with superchargers on them, and it was so far ahead of their time. I love their styling. I love Studebakers.
So, Larry.
Hey, Tom.
I'm sure that you remember this one, right?
I do. I love this car. I remember it quite well. You have no idea that the hours I worked on this car and the memories, and it's nice to see it's still looking so good. It'll be fun to drive it again. What's the scoop on this?
Brian says that he's having some problems with the front brake on the right side.
In what respect? Pulling or?
Apparently it's making a grinding sound and it's got a bit of pulling, but not on the brake. And fuel sending unit needs to be swapped out, so
okay.
I'm not quite sure what's going on there. We'll have to take a look.
All right. These cars usually had an access panel, but I'll open the trunk and we'll find out. It won't take about a minute. Aha. There it is, right there.
All right, well, get to it. Let's do the sending unit first, then we'll do the brake, and then hopefully after we test drive it, everything will be fine.
Okay, good.
Right on.
Well done. Now comes the moment of truth. Oh, man. Poor gal's in pretty tough shape. It's probably the original one. Like, it's done. It's so old that it's done. It goes in the fuel tank, and it tells the owner through the gauge on the instrument panel how much fuel is in this tank. That would be full, no resistance, and as it lowers, comes more and more resistance to empty. This old composition cork-type float has become, over the years, saturated. Fuel's entered it, and it's so heavy it won't float. It continually drops to the empty mode, even though the tank's full. And this is the new one. As you can see, they're coated with some kind of a gas-resistant varnish. So I think we're ready to put this baby in. There we go. Yeah. First of all, before we go any farther, let's see if it works. Let's turn the key on and see if this is going to be the deal. There she goes, boys. She's climbing up. Yes, good. That's one problem solved. Okay, so I'll put it back up in the air, connect the fuel line, and then we'll address the brake problem.
I'm buried in 25 years worth of collectible crap, and it's just gotten out of control. So I'm going to have an auction. And Janice was in on that. She's now gone away while I'm getting the auction together. It's going to be a bit of a surprise for her because I'm putting more in that auction than she ever dreamt I would. And some of the junk I've got is like, look at these two. A matching pair of 1948 Dodge school buses made out of wood. It doesn't get any better than that. And they were built as woody school buses with 3 rows of seats for the kids and full wooden bodies from the top of the windshield back. You know, they're just cool. They're very rare. They're built by a New York coach builder. Woodies are really hot right now, and the big one-ton woodies like these have sort of come into vogue. And I've seen them selling for as much as $250,000 or more US. I mean, that's a lot of money for an old truck. I don't think I'm going to get rich selling this, and I don't really care. I just really want them to go to somebody who's going to restore them. So, you know, if I got $2,500, $3,000 a piece for them, I'd be happy. I hope to see them on the road again. Just, I don't want to pay for them.
Today, a 1988 Ferrari 328 rolled in, and the customer's complaining of an overheating problem.
So I'm taking it out on a test drive. We're gonna see if we can get it to replicate the problem that he says he's having. Now that I've been doing a little bit of stop and go, I can see the temperature gauge is starting to creep up on me. It's not good when the temperature gets up that high. So we're gonna get it back to the shop and check it out.
The Ferrari's running hot, so it could be a number of things why it's overheating. It could be the thermostat's not working properly, the cooling fans aren't coming on, it could be the water pump. We're gonna get the car up on the hoist so we can access it and have a look at these things.
He said he had a noise. Listen to that. Quite noisy. Something's come loose. When he brakes, he just doesn't feel it's braking properly. So we'll pull this off and have a look and see what's going on. I pulled the wheel apart and I found that the brake shoes were reversed, and plus when I put the hubcap on the ground, most of the spot welds on the wire wheel hub disc were broken free. It's not a safety concern, it's just an annoyance. If there's a funny noise coming from your car and you're not mechanically inclined, it could be a serious problem. So the customer wants it checked out. He don't know if something could be falling off that's a safety item, and you know, he could get an accident or something. And what we're going to do, take this to the welding shop and see if they can just tack that without discoloring this too much.
Typically, I go to an awful lot of auctions, but I mean, the auctions I'm going to are usually high-end car auctions or high-end antique auctions or something. This literally is Dave's junk auction. I'm gonna get rid of everything. I like that bike. You know, it's a nice original girl's bike. It's original paint. It's got all the bells and whistles on it. Boys' bikes are worth more because fewer survive, but it's still a really nice piece, and I'm hoping I can get $300 or $400 for it. Schwinn's were just like a really sort of quality bike, and to collectors, they've sort of become like the holy grail. Like a good Schwinn is and some of them were thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars, depending on the rarity. And I've dozens of bicycles that I've collected over the years, and people have given to me, and they'd all been hanging around gathering dust, so they're gone.
Jeff got it up on the hoist and he looked at a few things. He drained the coolant and was checking the thermostat. He was checking the cooling fans. And then ultimately we found that the water pump was leaking out of the bypass, so it has to be replaced.
Right down this area here, you can actually see the drip on the lower nut that retains the water pump. And now we are about to remove the leaking water pump. Just have to pull, and the hoses will come free. There we go. There we have our water pump and thermostat housing assembly.
It's only leaking a little bit right now, but it could get progressively worse to a point where the antifreeze is just spraying out of there. If my pickup truck starts leaking, it's gonna cost me a couple $100 for the whole job. With the Ferrari, it could be a couple $1,000 to $5,000.
Now we're gonna go and wiggle this water pump free. have our new Ferrari water pump. We can place our new water pump onto the housing.
I pulled the wheel apart, and I found that the brake shoes were reversed. Your primary shoe, the material, should be on this side. This is what we call the secondary shoe, because on these older systems, on drum brakes, they have what they call a self-energizing system, because what happens to motion of the car when you brake, the shoes want to rock, and when they do that, it causes kinetic energy, which helps your braking force even more. Being this way, when the brakes are applied, we're losing all this here, and it's causing an uneven wear pattern, which will cause uneven braking. It should have lighting up here, so it's a more progressive engagement. No contact there at all, and a little bit here. So obviously, it's going to create a braking problem. The brake pull could be an issue if you had to do a high-speed stop, because it wanted to pull you into the right quite severe. So what we're going to do is switch them around, clean them up, put it back together. Here comes the hard part. Getting this little guy back on. Strong. Oh, there. Phew. And we'll put the drum back on, then take her out for a drive.
What would you pay for that?
Nothing, but I don't like raffling.
The problem is, when I'm going through all this junk, well, there's a lot of it I really like to keep.
Okay, well, that's the next load to go out to the auction tent. I'm looking at this box, and I think it's got to be worth a couple of grand, really. If it's a couple of $100, I'm really going to be euchred.
Is it on there good? I think so.
When I first started out, gas pumps were worth a few $100. Now they're worth thousands of dollars, and I've even seen them go for $30,000. Trouble is, they're valuable. The globes are made out of glass, the cylinders that the gas was kept in are all glass, and I mean, that's subject to, well, idiots.
Someone should have measured that.
Yeah.
I think I bought this gas pump for about $2 grand, so if I got $3 grand, I'd be really happy.
How are we gonna do this now?
If they can even get it out of the building. We're having the auction today. All my stuff's up for sale, and the biggest ticket item might be the gas pump.
I lost half my finger.
Took the hubcap into Billy in the welding shop and explained to him what I found, and I showed him where the spot welds had broken loose in various spokes. Hey, shall we make out? Awesome. It's beautiful. It'll be around when I'm gone. I don't know about you. Thanks, buddy. I'm tapping these back in a bit because the wheels have been off this car multiple times, and these are getting stressed out a little bit. They're getting pulled in, so I'm just giving them a tap to put some more tension on them so that when I put the nuts back on and torque them, it's going to have a good grip. No more clipping noise. Very good. Now, we'll get the torque wrench out here. This is my $500 torque wrench. This is where you adjust your torque value from 0 to 225 foot-pounds. No clicks. We got the fuel gauges working. We addressed the problems with the brakes, so we'll just clean this white wall up, getting my fingerprints off of it, and set her down and take her out for road tests. That will be the final test.
Jeff found that the water pump was leaking. It was leaking out the bypass hole. It's one of those things that it would get progressively worse till all of a sudden you have like coolant like leaking out of the bottom of your car is something you want to kind of find out right away and get repaired.
I have to look up some torque specs for this vehicle. Every vehicle and engine would be different. To know the torque values of every engine would be virtually impossible. I'm going to adjust the torque wrench to the desired specifications. It's locked in place, and then I can tighten small nuts on the water pump.
So he's got a new pump, got it back on. We're almost ready to take it for a test drive, and we'll go from there.
In our Ferrari manual, it gave me a tip to line my socket with plastic in order not to damage or scratch the chrome wheel bolts.
Now 40, down 40 back there. When you get the 40 on the road, 47 and a half, now 40, now 2 and a half, 40 out of 2 and a half.
So I got 2 cars at the door. The auction crowd's arriving. Janice has just gotten back from holidays, and she hasn't seen any of this, so I'm really looking forward to showing her.
Wow, I love this tent.
Jan's in for a bit of a surprise, because I'm getting rid of an awful lot of stuff I didn't even think I'd get rid of.
Can't believe some of the things you're selling. I thought.
And airplanes?
Okay, fellas, we're going to get on with the highlights of the auction here. First of all, I'd like to welcome everybody here to the Guild of Automotive Restores. All right, we're going to start with number 700, the Norman Green bike. I believe that's this one right here. $8 here, all done at 3, $225 and 50. Oh, there, $225. We're going to go to lot 701. We got the Iverson red bike. Last call, $200 here, $25 and 9. Right there, $200 for bike.
You know what? If we got 20 grand out of this, that'd be fun.
Kind of a nice truck there. You put whatever sticker you like on it. We'll give you Cam. I'm giving 150. Go here, 60. 160. Here we go. Give me 60.
Well, right there. 200. The buyer number 200. The buyer 200.
This car is now sold to the U.S., so I'm fortunate to have the opportunity to road test it for the last time and to say goodbye to her. Let's burn and burn. Okay, nail her. I hear the Chargers whistling. Oh yeah, she just starts to want to come alive at about 3.
Okay, I'll try the brakes.
Okay, give her. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's pretty much normal for these.
let's give her sushi.
Okay, nail her. Okay, we're manifold back its way down. Now she's building. Good. Keep going. Don't stop. Nice. Yeah, these guys are two-handers.
Yeah, oh yeah. I'm surprised how much power this old girl has, too.
I replaced the fuel level.
Oh, it's just above a half a tank.
This thing's a peg on gas. It always was.
Well, this car rides pretty good, Larry. I bet it's pretty well. Take it back to the shop, and we're ready to give this car back.
But I think overall, the old gal works pretty good.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, fellas, we're going to carry on with the highlights here. We're going to get into the gas pump. 45, now 5. 5 down, down, 0, down, 5.
Gas pumps up on the block? I think this is going to be the big ticket item at this auction. It could make or break it.
16, 16, 7. 16, 16, 16, 7, 5, 16, 7.
Hey, let's get out of cars and do gas pumps. People are coming and going. Seats aren't full, but you only need 2 guys who want something to make the price go sky high.
67,000, 7,000.
I'm really surprised at this.
6,800.
Yeah, I think that we're way beyond break even at this point, and I'm pretty happy about what's happened in the last little round of bidding, that's for sure.
Okay, we're back on the road, and I'm gonna put the car the way it's meant to be driven a little hard, just to make sure that it's not gonna overheat on us.
Taking the customers' cars out on the test drive is probably one of the most important parts of us working on somebody's car. Just to make sure there's no problems, because you want to hand those keys back and get in that car and know that they're going to be safe and their car's going to be reliable.
brakes feel really good. Steering feels good. But the temperature is right in the perfect operating zone.
One of the perks of working here is getting to drive rare and one-off cars and get the looks, and everybody says, hey, nice car. It's not mine.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the auction. Thank you very much for attending the auction today. On behalf of the Guild of Automotive Restorers, thank you very much. Have a great weekend, and happy Father's Day to everybody.
It's a nice airplane. Well worth it.
Pretty good auction.
Pretty good. You see odd stuff you don't see every day. It's kind of nice.
I think it went pretty well.
You got the end
We
there?
made 28,000 total, plus the $5 grand, because he wants to pick those up after and pay when he picks them up. It was a private deal after the auction.
Overall, I think we did very well.
Did pretty well. Yeah,
We're happy.
I'm actually happy we got money for a bunch of junk. And we passed that junk on for other people to look after and dust. And we can go buy something with the money.